I'm not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in UK test part 309, the government part 4, and we're just trying to look if you understand everything of the chapter, and that all while doing risk training, and if you participate in risk training, that's at your own risk. So we should make sure to understand the powers of the devolved governments in Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. Are we going to learn them in detail? I don't know if it is wise to do it. So no one of them can do defense, foreign affairs or social security, and almost no taxation. That is what they have not the power to do. The Senate in Wales has the power to do education and training, health and social services, economic development, and housing. And the Scottish Parliament in Scotland can do civil and criminal law, health, education, planning, and additional tax-raising powers does it have. The Northern Ireland Assembly can do education, agriculture, the environment, health, and social services. What do you about training from the Senate in Wales? So it means we can say how nurses are trained to become nurses, but we cannot say how soldiers are trained to become soldiers. That would be defense. This is all so broad that I don't know if it's wise to learn that. We're learning a broad section of something way more larger with very simple words. I don't know if we know more after we've learned it. To understand the powers of the devolved governments in Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. We know pretty well what we cannot do. Defense, foreign affairs, social security, and taxation. Most taxation. And we can do things like education and health and housing and economic development. Then maybe we can do in Northern Ireland also agriculture. Can Scotland, the Scottish Parliament, not do agriculture? Now with additional tax-raising powers in Scotland, that seems to be unique for the Scottish Parliament. Okay, but agriculture is just in Northern Ireland possible? Not in Scotland? Maybe. Makes a little sense geographically. But health is by all three. Health and education, having all three. Why are they not listed in the same order? Why does the list by the Scottish Parliament not start with education? And if it's because civil and criminal law, do I see also as something exceptional? That is just in Scotland possible. But why is in Wales education listed first and then health? And here in Northern Ireland also first education and then health. But in the Scottish Parliament the other way around. So they are not listed by importance. And in a way, how could you sort something by importance? It also changes. So what is that for a list we're having now? We're having the powers are including, for example, the Senate has power in 21 areas, including these four: education and training, health and social security, social services, economic development, and housing. Now 17 are missing. Why are we learning 17? And the four we have seem not to be in order of importance. And these are broad things, and I don't know what we should do with it. Maybe we're just going to talk in the way I'm doing it since a couple of parts. When we know at least we don't know what we know, but we know what is in here. We should check to understand how proceedings in Parliament are recorded. What is that? How recorded? The media of the government is it. They're having broadcasting. Well, how they are recorded? There's an official report, but there's a broadcasting. I said that the Parliament is permanently recorded. proceedings, they're actually called proceedings? No, they are not called proceedings. This is just the verb. What's happening at proceeding, I think. So proceedings in Parliament are broadcast on television. Now, they don't say that it is recorded, but I don't think the BBC just gonna delete them. So, how they are recorded? Recorded does not mean to just broadcast them. It means to record them. That's the name of a record. To record them. So broadcasting is not recording. Let's know that there is broadcasting on television. So if someone wants to watch that, they don't have to get some sections of newspapers which might be influenced by someone having their own political agenda, but they can look at directly broadcasted on television. Then there is the official report called Hansard, something like that. And that is findable in large libraries or at www.parliament.uk. And how it is recorded, most people get information about newspapers called the press, so they're getting it from the press, television, radio, or the internet. The role of the media in keeping people informed about political issues. What they told us is that some newspapers, owners and editors hold strong political opinions and run campaigns to try to influence government, policy and public opinion. That is the role of the media in keeping people informed about political issues. That is what they told us. Now what they do, they broadcasting it. I don't know who it does, but I think it's the BBC. So the BBC seems to broadcast what's happening in the Parliament. And that most people are getting the information from the press, which are the newspapers, or from television, or from radio, or the internet about the politics. I think we're also talking with other people. The role of the media. Okay, we're just asking for the role of the media. The UK has a free press. That means that the government can't control what is written in the newspapers. And also the law says that radio and television have to present both parties or two people saying something if they are differ, both with equal amount of time. So if the Prime Minister was talking for 5 minutes, now the opposition leader has also to talk for 5 minutes, something like that. I just formulated in a way a law would formulate it. I'm not sure if the law says exactly that. Must be balanced, and so equal time has to be given to rival viewpoints. So to rival viewpoints, not speech time. Okay, let's just say we understand it. I think we understand it. We are just not really satisfied with the information we have. We want more detail, more explanation, more having the ability to explain it. And not just to explain it in an academical way, but to explain it to someone who doesn't know anything about it, without illustrations, without anything. So if you're just here for who can vote, then you can go directly to the next part. Otherwise, we're going to do now risk training. And if you participate in risk training, that is at your own risk. But the physical exercises have a role. If you now use your brain, not for anything else, for anything new input, but just here concentrated while you get no new input for a couple of minutes. My theory is that you are better able to remember what we just all said. Because during these exercises, the brain will be concentrated. We are concentrated on the exercises, but the brain has nothing really new to do. So maybe it's working on storing all the things we just said, or I just said. The risk training. If you participate in it, that is at your own risk. The hands next to us, and we have the hands from the fist, and we bring them down and up. That is the spotlight. And we're having 3 rules. The first rule is that we are stopping immediately as soon as we feel pain. And I have to rest my voice now. And the second exercise, hands from the fist next to us, and we bring them to the inside and to the outside. The second rule is that we go only as fast as we can go with a little bit of effort. And the third rule is to not overdoing it. We're doing only a few one of them, just nice and simple, easy. And last time to the inside, and to the outside. Now the magician. Flat hands and bring them to the inside and to the outside. And the last time. Now the pancake flipper. Let's hand next to us and we bring it up and down. And the last one. Now the quadrangular castle architect. Hands and fists out, and we're bringing these fists to the inside. Up. To the outside. And down. And the last time. Now down. To the outside. Up. And last exercise, crab anxious to a fever. Hand next to us with a hand form to a fist, and we're bringing a bit down, flexion, and we're pressing a bit against it. And on the other side. And with from the top. And press it. Now we have our hand next to us, hold the fist, bring it down into flexion, and press it a bit against it. Pull a bit from the inside. And from the top. And from the top. And just a bit stretching the gum with moderate pressure on the middle part of the lower arm. And with the other arm the same. And the last time. Now we're having 2 minutes. So, the Chancellor of Exchequer cares for the economy. Let's actually learn at one time the constitutional institution. And maybe the national anthem. So the Chancellor of Exchequer does have the responsibility for the economy. And the Home Secretary is responsible for crime, policing and immigration. Yes, the police does other things than just crime. Home Secretary, responsible for crime, policing and immigration. There's certainly a fourth and fifth thing. Crime, policing and immigration. Crime, policing, immigration, Home Secretary. And Foreign Secretary will be then responsible for managing relationships with foreign countries. So Home Secretary, Crime, Policing, Immigration, and Foreign Secretary responsible for relationships with other countries. Chancellor of Exchequer, Economy, and Home Secretary, Crime, Policing, Immigration. I think that's it. Thank you very much, and until next time.